Big Footy Blues. Big Footy Blues. Can the Big Footy Blues.
And thanks for joining us for episode 15 of the 2015 Big Footy Blues podcast. I'm ODN. It has been a while since we last chatted. We actually recorded episode 14, forever known as the lost episode, after the Adelaide game, but technical incompetency on my part means it will forever just be an intimate memory. I'd like to apologise to Ace Andy, who debuted in our Forever Lost podcast and did a great job. We'll make sure we get you back on soon, mate. So... well, just so you don't become an unfortunate quiz question in our podcast history, I guess. Joining me tonight, big welcome to BlueBelle.
Good evening, guys.
Happy Dad.
Hello.
And even happier Dad, ShanDog, who has recently welcomed a future podcast into the world, if the father-daughter bidding price is not too expensive, of course.
No, you'll change the rules, I'm sure, just this month, right before we can draft it.
Oh, she ends up on the Collingwood podcast, ShanDog, I'll tell you what.
Oh, boy.
Look, I think
what's wrong with that? I've been on the Collingwood podcast.
Oh, so have I. I've actually gone out and helped out a couple of times.
Yeah.
But, it's a nice place. I wouldn't want to live there.
It's like visiting a third world country for a holiday.
We'll go straight into a little bit of Blues news.
Blues news.
Look, I think we'll harken back because of those lost moments. We can't keep the podcast going without referring back to things that have happened over the last couple of weeks. So, in the first quarter of the game, a couple of weeks back against the Crows, the football world held its collective breath as Chris Judd landed after taking a mark and went to ground in agony. A wave he gave to the crowd while riding off on a motorised stretcher hinted at it. Medical reports screamed it. 3 days later, we watched on in stunned silence as Judd himself confirmed it. His career was over. Guys, do you want an opportunity to say a couple of words about Chris Judd and his retirement and what it all means to you?
I actually sadly did not make it up to Melbourne for that game. I was umming and ahhing about it, but, life commitments, and I was quite knackered after work that morning, so I decided not to go up because I thought with the season that we've been having, I'm not too sure that there'd be much for me to see. So I sadly missed being at Chris Judd's last game, but what a player, honestly, for our club over the last few years since he arrived at Visy Park all those years ago. He's just put in all 110% every single week, and even walked away with a Brownlow. Sad we couldn't get him a premiership, but if anyone deserved it that was at the club, it was him.
Absolutely. I think looking back, he was my favourite player at the time when he was at West Coast, because obviously being a footy lover, and then when obviously he come to the club, it was like, oh my God, all my dreams had come true. But look, I guess single-handedly resurrected our club. We were in a pretty dire strait back then, and getting him and Cruz, and the future started to look a bit better. And I've actually met Chris Judd a few times, and what a terrific bloke. Just talks about footy and life in general, and just a real pleasure to be around. So thanks, Juddy, from all the Carlton faithful. Wish you well for the future.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm still in denial.
It was a weird feeling being at the G on Saturday. I don't know about you, happy dude, but not seeing him run out with the team was like, oh God, we've got to get used to that. Obviously there's been times when he's been injured, but knowing that he's never going to play another game for Carlton, it's quite sad, and I wish he could have gone out on his own in his own way rather than being forced. But
I think Chris Judd should be named on the extended interchange for every single match by the club for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
we'll make him the sub and just not bring him on.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it actually didn't really, reality of it all didn't actually sink in until the game had just started. And then I thought, it actually really hit me that there's no moment where he's just going to get the ball out of pack and burst out of the pack and you go, there's Judd.
I had a little bit of a tribute to Juddy that I read out in that last episode. So if I can indulge myself now, I'll just read that. I love the Carlton Football Club, its rich history, the ghosts of legends past, and our modern-day heroes who enrich my life by enriching the Carlton Football Club. And in no uncertain terms, I love Chris Judd too. Over the years, I've felt the need to find the words to describe Judd's worth to Carlton in the context of the trade that saw Josh Kennedy become a potent full forward for the Eagles and also the loss of a number 3 draft pick. In the wake of Judd's retirement, I read a headline to a Tony DeBolfo article, Judd's greatest gift, the gift of hope. That sums it up perfectly. Outsiders believe Judd had to win a flag with Carlton for the trade to be a winner for us. They don't understand how low we were, how unprofessional and lost we were. We still have some work to do as a club, but I think we have learned a few things about effort, attitude, and we have a greater ability to self-diagnose the issues that we do have. I think the seeds of professionalism were very much planted at the club the day that Chris Judd signed. Not because we pulled off a recruiting coup, but because the man himself exudes professionalism and he immediately gave us credibility. We were always going to feel robbed no matter when Judd's final game came. We were addicted to the pure genius, hardly able to wait a week to get another fix. We were spoiled. Now Judd sits on an equal footing with the legends of the Carlton Football Club. It's an impressive list, but Judd is oh so worthy. Judd gave us all hope for long enough until other hope came along. Whether by coincidence or convenience, it's rather appropriate that the loss of Judd, the inside midfield beast who stood out of the crowd by carrying the side on his broad shoulders, coincides with the rapid rise of another inside midfield beast with broad shoulders, Patrick Cripps. It's almost as though we can say to Juddy, your job is done. Reinforcements have arrived. Rest now, champ.
I like it. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Just pretty good.
Wake up, happy dad.
I know.
All right. Other things in the news.
My body clock's changed. Even though it was my day off, I've been up since 1 a.m.
We'll get to
And for people listening in the future, it's currently 8:47. I fell asleep a little bit. I set an alarm for 8 o'clock to get up for this, and I slept through it.
We get to the match review and he'll be like, oh yeah, the win was alright.
Yeah, it was all right.
That Cripps kid can do some things.
Yeah. He handball's okay.
Yeah. King of Ruin, if you're listening, mate, happy dude stealing your gig. Look, let's talk about the panel that we've assembled to find our new coach. And that panel's been announced. We have, of course, CEO Stephen Treat, former Premiership player champion Ken Sheldon, some recruitment guru's name escapes me right now. Sorry.
He's that good.
Yeah, but he's from the. He's from that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Socceroos coach Anne Postecoglou, of course, and conveniently, recently retired player Chris Judd. What do we think about the makeup of that panel?
I like that it's varied. I mean, I think they've gone in with the right attitude about it anyway. I mean, whether or not the people that they've selected are the right ones, I don't know. I think they sound pretty good. But I like that they've got different points of view, you know, people who come from different places to be able to have input on it, including a very recent retiree. That's a good idea.
If anybody's going to know what these players need, what sort of personality these players are going to respond to, you know, and where they're at, it'll be Chris Judd. So he knows the players intimately, and it's a really good. And basically, we have got a lot of praise from the media for the makeup of that panel. Ange Postecoglou, while not in the code, he knows a lot about man management and strategies and things like that. So the coach is not just about game tactics and so forth, because the assistant coaches also help with that, but it's becoming more of an overriding sort of management role, I guess, like you'd find in the English Premier League or something like that. So you're not actually, don't actually have to have those skills yourself, but you're actually all across all areas of coaching. And I think Ange Postecoglou is that. He would recognise a good coaching strategy.
I think one thing that kind of not alarms me, but is a bit of a shock, is that there's no board representation on that panel.
I'd say that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure because, I mean...
They need to be making less decisions.
Yeah, but they've got to be accountable as well. I mean, they haven't been accountable for the last 3 of them.
Well, I'd like to think that Stephen Trigg was the board representative in that side.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Yeah. But along those lines, I did note, and I got really furious at Damien Barrett in his sliding doors column on the AFL site. Basically said that the board sacked Malthouse. They should have the courage to find his replacement and not, wimp out and give it off to some sort of subcommittee.
What a dumb thing to say.
And saying basically that just represents the old Carlton and failure to take responsibility for their actions. And I thought you could not have got that more opposite if you tried, mate. The old Carlton, the board was the ones that walked up to a coach and said, "You're it. Here's your bags of cash. You're the next anointed one." All the time, all through our history.
Yeah.
So this time we actually try to do a process where the board stays out of it and actually lets professional football people and people with the ability to choose these things to actually make the decisions. And that dickhead goes out and says something like that. I mean, he's probably the only one who said that, because by and large the process and what we've done and the people we put on it seems to have been a winner with most people in the media. He's just looking to earn a paycheck that week by being controversial, but he got it so wrong.
I don't tweet much, but I jumped on after I saw that and sent him a tweet and said, "What the hell would our board know about who the most appropriate coach is?"
Obviously, after they put on Malthouse, we have a pretty good indication of what our board would know about what we need.
Malthouse, Pagan.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's all the airtime that idiot's going to get on here, I think.
Yeah. If Judd can select a coach and get us a premiership that way, then he maybe did get us a premiership in the end. Bit of a roundabout way of looking at it.
Still counts. He's on our list.
Exactly.
That's right. Exactly.
Imagine him hobbling up. Just getting the medal. All
right. Let's move on to the weekend wake.
This is the weekend wake.
So on Saturday afternoon, Carlton 17-8-110 defeated. Let me say that again. Defeated Port Adelaide 16-10-106. Goals for Carlton: Everett 3, Henderson 3, 2 to Graham, Armfield, Casbolt and Menzel, and singles to Wood, Bell, Murphy. Best for Carlton: Cripps, Carazzo, Murphy, Rowe, Graham and Bell. Look, surely you've all got something to say about this game. What were the highlights and where did we win it?
How hasn't Bell improved? Holy crap!
Yeah.
Bell, what a game! I really enjoyed his game. He was right in there, using his size appropriately, and not making those silly decisions that he's been known for.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He had a particularly great game. Not focusing on any individuals, but the team pressure that we put on them. I think the media people at the club have really locked into on that and sort of put a really cool video out about it as well. But our tackling pressure was just so far different to anything that we've seen in the last year and a half, I reckon. And,
even longer. It was. I haven't seen it. We haven't seen it for ages.
I had no idea what I was seeing. I thought I rocked up at the wrong game.
Yeah.
Colour me surprised. Here I am about to say something good about Barker as a coach, which I don't think I've ever really done before. But he actually listened to the radio and took information he got from Hinkley on the radio minutes before the game and worked it into the game plan.
Yeah, I like
Isn't that
that.
what he used to do against us when we had Ratton as a coach, when he used to reveal all?
Yeah. Yeah, well, 71 tackles for the record, which is twice the amount that we were getting in Mick Malthouse's last two games as coach.
I don't know what I'd do with myself if Barker ended up head coach, because he seems to have gotten quite a bit of an improvement within a couple of weeks. But then again, he's got a pretty horrible track record.
The 71 tackles that you mentioned, ODN, I think, not just the quantity, but the quality of the tackles. I don't think we've seen anything like it. I mean...
I don't think Robbie Gray has either.
Well, yes, but Nick Graham, that was the one thing that stood out for me. His pressure around the footy, just, for holding the balls, just brilliant technical tackles. Cripps as well. Straight after that Bryce Gibbs Gray incident, Cripps did a similar thing.
Oh, yeah. 30 seconds later.
And it was almost like, oh my God, what the? Normally they, but it was great. They all come out of their shell and they really showed the footy world that, this run and carry style footy, play on at all costs, it just works with our players. And I guess it's something that they've wanted to do for a long time, but Malthouse just wouldn't allow it. So,
Malthouse would certainly allow the intensity and the aggression at the player, but I think the game plan meant that we were playing too much one-on-one. Our opponents were getting a step on us, and we were chasing tail rather than actually being able to tackle. When we're playing a little bit of combination of a zone as well, we're actually constantly having bodies in the area. So they get past one, another wave's coming. Mm. So it's just mixing it up and not having a really strict negative tagging one-on-one type game seems to really suit the players that we have in the side at the moment. So, kudos to him. But I wouldn't worry too much at the moment, Happy Dude. There's still a fair few games to go. People are saying it's a bit of a dead cat bounce. Coach goes, team performs. I do see it as a little bit more strategic than that.
Mm. It definitely looked a bit more strategic than the dead cat bouncing thingy that you're talking about. If it's a dead cat bounce, a dead cat bounce, basically, it's a bounce back. Teams get a bit of a lift when a coach goes. I'm having a lens.
But I think, or it also describes Damien Barrett's media career. But there's plenty of time left for, if it is just that bounce that we're getting, for it to fade and us to go back into our regular holding pattern as we were in earlier in the year. But if that doesn't happen, it's a fair volume of games to go into a interview process by saying, look what I did.
Here, folks, by the end of the season, there will be a dead cat.
The way Geelong are travelling. The other thing that I was going to say, BlueBelle, in regards to Nick Graham, it's not only the tackles. It's every time he gets up, he'll give a shove to the chest of the player that just tackled as well. He's got some real. He's not put off by reputations. No. He's out there to be on an equal footing with these guys. He's not looking at himself as a young player just starting out. He's already got the right attitude and a little bit of tude.
I loved that. I just think it was fantastic. He did it after everyone too. It was just like, cop that kind of thing.
All of our young players seem to have some real good inner belief or inner confidence in themselves and not be overwrought by playing with the big guns, So that's a really good thing.
One thing I'm really enjoying starting to see again is the younger players that we had out there actually have footy smarts, and it's been a while since so many new players or younger players that we've had on the team have actually had footy smarts. We've been for a while there, we were picking up players that hadn't grown up playing football, Armfield, while he puts in all the effort, just sometimes lacked that bit of footy smarts. Aaron Joseph, that sort of type. Whereas right now, between Cripps, Menzel and Graham, they know, and Doherty, they know when to tap, when to shepherd, when to kick to space, where the guarded space is, and how to land it there. They just make the right football decisions.
Hasn't Dennis Armfield come alive again?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
This is his game. He was gone. He's gone for all money under Malthouse in that game plan. He's just he's done okay this year. Last year he was nowhere. But gee, he's actually showing himself to be best 22 again.
Well, we're playing to his strengths now, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's an exciting player. And he's got his speed back, and it's great to see.
That soccer goal he did was actually really impressive. Not only the lead up to it, how the way that a few people sort of just broke through tackles. I think it was Murphy tapping on to Cripps, who said, "Nice try, champ." Whoever tackled him, handballed it onto Everett, and Everett had the common sense to put it in front of.
Put it in the corridor in front of goal.
And it was a bouncing football, like Australian rules football. That thing doesn't bounce properly, and he still managed to come in off a 100k an hour run and nail it from about 15 out. That was amazing.
Yeah. I think I just sat there and went, bullshit.
Yeah,
what a bullshit goal.
I think he stood up and thought that as well from his reaction.
And that's when you know, geez, we're on. This is exciting, you know. A few weeks back we were just looking for one good piece of play to sustain us for the game, you know, or one player playing well, and now everybody's doing so well, and Casbolt's kicking straight, and all these things are happening, and you can't fathom it.
But the funniest thing was, I'm not sure whether it was earlier or later in the game, but the goal off the ground that Wood kicked, Armfield had a fresh area at that one from about a metre out from the goal line. Missed that one. We got the other. That was far more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. In the last quarter, some vital tackles from Menzel and Doherty. So we talk about the others that were tackling all day long, but those two, they found their tackling form in the last quarter when it was vital.
That Doherty tackle was amazing to get the ground for.
It was like Doggy Brown all over in the 99 prelim.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, the reaction of the ground was huge, considering that there was no noise from the Carlton cheer squad beforehand.
It was.
And then that late diving mark to wrap it up. Just fantastic stuff.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Happy Dude, but I felt sick. Like leading up to that final siren, I thought, oh God, if we throw this game, like we've been the better side all year, all day, and it would have just been absolutely devastating if we couldn't get over the line. But just the fans around, like everyone was anxious, everyone was nervous. The lady in front of me couldn't watch. She was actually dry reaching. She was that worked up about it.
I was going to say that the lady that sits in front of me, who at one stage I thought may have been Aphrodite. She has a radio in one ear every week, and she sort of yells out what she's thinking. Kick it, Blues, not there, one of those. And she's going, oh, we have to kick a goal or we're finished. We need to kick a goal. Yep, they just said on the radio, we need to kick a goal or we're finished. And that's what she kept saying for the last 3 minutes of play. And we didn't kick one. And then at the end she goes, 10 seconds left. So we all counted down the time together in the bay. But she was up and dancing when it went. She's an older Greek lady, and she's up and dancing around.
Oh, we all hugged and everything. Like you could just tell how much I think not only the players needed the win, but the supporters really needed the win. Like it's obviously the first game we've won in Australia, but just being able to walk out of the ground with a smile on your face, it took me back to, when after our salary cap breaches and how dismal that was. It was, I kind of had a similar feeling all year, and then obviously Saturday just changed that. So, amazing feeling. I just hope they can continue the momentum.
So who was best on ground for you guys?
Oh, I'd say Paddy Cripps, absolutely. Yeah.
Tom Bell.
Absolutely. Yeah, although I mean, some.
It was close between.
Bell was up there.
Bell, I think.
Cripps. Yeah.
Murphy, again, he didn't play the first week after Moldhouse, but he's definitely stepped up. The Adelaide game and on Saturday, he's just really taken the lead, which I think is great for him and for his development. Stepping up and showing the boys that this is my job. I'm the captain. I'm going to lead by example. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'd say Cripps with a really honourable mention towards Kane Mitchell, who hit us all afternoon on the chest and let us walk through him.
Nice work. And Pittard.
Pittard and Jonas. Jonas gave us about 3 goals, which was good.
But just happy to just on that. Cripps 31 disposals, 15 of those were contested possessions at 80.6 disposal efficiency percentage. So that's a massive game, 80%.
Oh, yeah.
So Bell was 64. Bell was really, really, really good. And geez, he comes up trumps in some vital times, and that just intercepting that ball down the wing out on the boundary line late was crucial stuff.
There was a hair in it with what I said.
He's come on. Like I could see in the preseason, he looked to have come on. In the early games, but even when we were struggling this year, Bell's been consistently in there. So's Cripps, so's Doherty, I guess. But Bell's he's just ramping it up. He's just getting better and better and better. And I don't care that he makes a couple of bad decisions now and again. He's improving on that score, but he's just unstoppable. They can't tackle him.
Yeah,
he'll get the ball away every time.
His strength is just I mean, like you said, that play on the wing, my God, like just he just shrugged him off like he was nothing. It was just like, get out of my way kind of thing. It was just
That's actually a different one you're talking about, where he gave the don't argue to Boak before handing off to Menzel, who snapped from the corner. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one as well. Yeah, absolutely. But I do have to make mention, there was a particular player out on the ground, and maybe ShanDog can help me with this, who absolutely blanketed Scholes from Port Adelaide. Who was that, ShanDog?
It was Rowie! What a man. Oh, doesn't he just fill you with, like, a homosexual tendency? I mean, like, confidence in our backline is what I was going to say.
You know what? He started off really sketchy on Saturday. There was a couple of times where I thought, oh, God, but he really picked it up after about quarter time. I was quite happy with his performance after that.
Yeah, he actually went to taking marks and delivered a nice ball into the forward 50. He didn't just stop Schulz, he actually used the ball well coming back out when he got it as well.
He's looking a little bit like a general back there.
He just read the play brilliantly.
He's reading the play, absolutely. And he's composed. He's not making silly decisions with the ball when he gives it off. And he's just standing up there like a colossus now. He's looking very strong. And I'm impressed because he seems to have found a yard or two. You think back a couple of years ago, and Sam Rowe, the ruckman, come part-time forward or whatever he came in as, and he switched back to the back line. He was still a little bit light on for pace early on last year when he was doing well. But he's matching his opponents stride for stride, and more often than not beating them to the contest. Fantastic. I don't know what he's done, but keep doing it. So he is a real good news story for Carlton over the years, with everything he went through, and we're so well. It turned out to be a really good selection in the end.
Absolutely, it's great.
If only we had that another year with him, he could be another year advanced on where he is now, and we would have got the best out of him for longer as well. He's not a young player. So.
No, he's not. But I wonder if that year out really helped him to provide some drive and motivation to get back.
Maybe.
And that's probably why he is where he is today. Out of great adversity comes strength or whatever.
Good point.
Yeah, and Cade Simpson, he's another one who's just. Oh. He's come back into it. We were worried about him in the first couple of games. He looked like he was off, and he's probably going to be his last year. We've heard that Carlton planning on keeping their senior core around as long as possible.
Well, he's been building and building. He's gotten better. He's still not quite as playing at that same amazing level that he was consistently last year, I think. But he's definitely improved with every week and was looking very good yesterday. Last week and against the Crows, like that first quarter he had against them was amazing.
Playing the loose man in defence just suits him to a T.
Yep.
Yeah, just can run off and uses the ball well. So I dread the day that Simo retires. I really do, because he's like our lifeline down in the back line. He's just the heart and soul of the team. So
yeah. And one more quick shout out for me to Zach Tui, who's we didn't get that podcast in last time, and he completely blanketed Eddie Betts 2 games ago, and he's just in really good form and attitude, and he's tough as nails, and I love it. Can't wait to get another Irish guy on the side with him.
2.
But at least we've got one coming back soon. The other one's probably not going to make it back this year, but. I just don't know at the expense of who.
Yeah, that's the
Because
problem.
right now they're all looking pretty good. There are a couple who impressed in the VFL who also had a stirring win. So, yeah, we shall move on to pre-game pep talk.
Pre-game pep talk.
So, Sunday afternoon at Etihad, we're the only game on Sunday. Carlton take on the Gold Coast Suns.
Clash of the Titans.
No, that's the NRL team
Yeah.
up there. Stay with us.
My bad.
Gold Coast actually sitting last on the ladder with
Yeah.
one win, and we're sitting third
They
last at
suck.
the moment. Our form is, yeah, well, they are getting a few back this week. Ablett's due back. He's announced this game as his comeback game. Well, that's typical that stars come back against Carlton. Why can't we get an easy ride of the opposition injuries and
It's
stuff? But
AFL
no.
conspiracies. It's getting tiresome, you know?
Yeah. And they're also getting back
Benell and May.
May. I was going to say it's May or Day or May Day or I don't know. It was one of those.
May.
One of those guys.
Make some hay.
On the day, yeah, it was mate, yeah. Big shout out to Happy Gilmore.
Cousin of Happy Dude.
Happy Dude, exactly right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, one big happy family.
What are the... Well, we know that Bryce Gibbs has been suspended for 2 weeks, and Carlton have accepted that penalty. I think we probably could have challenged it, and I think Carlton...
Bullshit.
Carlton knew that that the decision was bullshit. They basically said as such, but they said there's no point challenging the AFL on this because the AFL want the AFL get, and they don't want to set any precedent. So they knew that it'd become 3 if they challenged it. I would have liked to see them challenge it anyway, just to make it obvious that it wasn't as cut and dried as they thought. But anyway, it's happened. So Gibbs is out for 2 weeks after having just come back from an injury. So that's not ideal for us. I don't think anybody else. Do you have any other injuries? I don't really recall any.
No.
Murphy looked a bit sore, had to go off and get a jab.
That's
But,
They did,
yeah, I don't see him missing a week for it. Otherwise, we would have heard something by now.
So are we expecting, what sort of changes are we expecting for this game?
There won't be too many, will there? I think.
I reckon just the Gibbs change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very likely that there'd be only the one. And if there is more than one, that it wouldn't be many. The other only big name that you'd really have to consider bringing in is Jamison, but considering that he's only played the one game now after missing, 7 weeks?
Yeah.
So he's played one game, 60% of the game in the VFL, and the Gold Coast currently don't have a lot of big key forwards at the moment. Dixon and May. Oh no, is May playing as a defender again? So it's like, who do we really need him in? I don't know.
I reckon, Jamo doesn't need to be rushed back.
No,
Not this year.
Did he play 60% just to nurse him back in slowly, or did he play 60% because we didn't want him to work too hard because he was going to play this week?
Wow, yeah, good question.
So we don't know. We don't know what that's also one of our tactics when the players are coming back in the VFL. So not sure there. Matthew Watson put his hand up with 6 goals, and I'd say that with a little bit of laugh, not because
Put it back down,
of
Watson.
Yeah, not because of Watto himself, but just because it's such a contentious issue and a discussion on going on the boards all the time. It is true that a lot of players have found form since the coaching change, and a game plan has changed, and a lot of players have benefited from that. There is a school of thought that, like Graham, Watson has never got a string of games, and one time he did get about 4 games in a row. He actually, with 4 or 5 in a row, a couple of years back, he actually played pretty well. So it feels a bit. Our side is travelling so well at the moment, and Watson, in his last few games with us, has really struggled, kind of thing. Well, he certainly has when he came back this year and in most of his last few games. It does feel like it could break that momentum a little bit. But on the same note, do we owe it to all our players to give them a good look before we decide they're not good enough at the end of the year?
When you kick 17 goals, should you really be thinking about changing up the forward line?
Well,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. Who comes out for him? Like, if we had someone who was underperforming, I could understand it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's not like he can fill in the ruck. So, like, whereas at the moment Casbolt can. So you've got Wood, Cruiser, and Casbolt that can all...
Yeah, that's right. But we did sub Wood off.
Yeah, but we needed extra run, though. I don't think it was through lack of...
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he hadn't done too much on the day, and I'm certainly Wood's he's a good try. I'm just saying that's potentially an area as Cruiser gets back to full fitness, it's potentially an area we will look at.
Yeah, although I hope we don't change it, to be honest with you. I think it's working quite well, and if all things being equal, no one gets injured and whatnot, I think subbing Wood off at three-quarter time is a really good move just about every game. Just make it plan A, unless there's anything drastic happens, then we go to plan B.
Take off a bigger man for a smaller man, extra run on the field, rather than sacrifice, run for run.
Yeah, so unless Henderson or Casbolt go down with an injury or touch wood, it doesn't happen, maybe Menzel or something like that, then we can look at bringing in Watson for a good string of games too. Like, I agree, he should get a few if he's going to get some. But for now, I'd be pretty happy with leaving it the way it is. And necessary changes only, and just look for the opportunities to bring in, your Kieran Burns and your Boakhursts and all that sort of stuff. Boakhorses.
Yeah, who comes in for Gibbs though?
I'd say it's going to be Barker. Yeah, he played pretty well in the VFL, and Johnny Barker was actually singled him out for some praise, I believe, for the VFL game. So that suggests to me that he's right in the mix to be the next player in.
Holman seems to be like the more like for like player though.
Well, for Gibbs,
yeah.
Well, I mean, we still have these big-bodied mids, and that's sort of Holman's go. We outside run-wise, the Gold Coast Suns, if that's something, that is one thing that they do like a little bit of outside run. So they are still a young side with a few best 22 players out, so a little bit of inexperience in there. So I can see Boakhorst coming in with a little bit less pressure into playing a side like that and working himself into some sort of senior form. It might be a good opportunity for him in that regard. But we do have Bell, and we do have Curnow, we do have Cripps, and we do have Graham already in the side. So they're a little bit they're not the express players, they're the one-place players. So I can see the need to get a little bit of pace in that side, just to match the likes of Bennell and stuff like that as they stream down the ground. So I don't see it as necessarily needing a Gibbs type replacement.
Fair enough.
I don't think there is a Gibbs type replacement really. He's a little bit unique in his utility value.
Boakhorst did look very, very good in those. Has anyone watched the highlights of the Northern Blues game?
No, I haven't.
He looked very good, actually. A couple of little spin moves out of trouble there. He's been watching the NFL or something. It was very good.
Is that on the VFL website?
It's on the YouTube account for the Northern Blues, I think.
Okay, I'll go.
So, yeah, recommend watching that for all the listeners.
So, a few weeks ago, we were even bothering to give some predictions for these games. We just wanted something to smile about. But we'll go back to it this week.
Do you really want to?
Well, I don't want to hear any 10-goal predictions.
Oh, no. You won't be hearing any of those.
All right. So, are Carlton going to win on the weekend, people? Given our newfound form, should we win and will we win?
I can't see us losing another game this season.
Oh, dear. Well,
all right, Mick, shut up now.
I didn't think Mick would go back to the media, but then we're not really the media, are we?
9 goals.
We should absolutely win. If we're fair income and this is the kind of footy we want to play with that kind of effort, we have to follow it up. And, no better time than to... We should really beat Gold Coast quite well. They're not in good form at all. I mean, I know they come close to Freo a couple of weeks ago, but they've had a worse year than us, albeit injuries and whatnot. But this is the kind of game that we should take by the scruff of the neck, really put our foot down and get a good win under our belt.
Yeah, I reckon we could win this based on form and a lot of other things. And I reckon we could win the next 2 games this week and against the Bulldogs too. So yeah, I just hope we could do that.
There's no reason.
1 week at a time.
manic attack on the footy, and you do that, and a lot of things can happen. And we're seeing all these people saying it was obvious how bad our list was, and that we needed a full rebuild, and people had their head in the sand, and it wasn't nothing to do with the coaching and stuff like that. I could never see why we were so bad so quickly, because a lot of these players were in career worst form, and I couldn't see that they'd lose the ability to play the game. Turns out they haven't. They just couldn't play it the way we were being made to play it, and now we can. So suddenly, my expectations about how much of a rebuild we need and where our list is at is significantly better than what was being force-fed down our throats, I believe. So I now expect to win games again, and we will win. We will win. We will beat the Gold Coast, and we will beat them handily.
Yeah, I think, in short, the Gold Coast are maybe finding a little bit of form. They just did come off the bye, though, and they've got some good players coming back in. So I kind of am leaning towards it being a fairly tight game, but I think we'll get through by a couple of goals.
And Ablett's shoulder's going to stand up against our newfound enthusiasm?
It's a good question.
Well, our dangerous tackle has been suspended.
Yeah,
I never
but
thought I'd say that. Okay.
You and I know, with the Cripps tackle after that and another one from Bell during the match, there were similar types of tackles. The only difference was the result. The injuries sustained during the tackle. So we've got a few dangerous tackles, and I noticed Dylan Buckley's come out and said we're not changing anything.
Good.
So,
well done, Dillbucks.
So yeah, that's it. Carlton to win all round, and we'll see where we stand after next weekend when we all meet again. Thank you for coming in, Happy Dude.
You are welcome.
And thank you, BlueBelle, as always.
Thanks, guys.
And ShanDog, get some sleep, mate.
I'm so tired.
Both the new dads need some sleep.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Hey, trouble.